Today we're taking a trek into the Sonic OC fandom because we have an artist that posted some artwork and people kind of were scratching their heads at a little rumor circulating around this person of using alleged AI in their works, and then a lot more got revealed. So let's delve into the situation, and again, don't send hate to any parties involved. Everything kicked off with this art piece the artist made who goes by the name of Cy Rose, and they drew their OC of Sonic the Hedgehog. And after this, another person quote retweets it, writing, "Apparently, this guy is using AI for his art. Rumors are saying your art style changes every day, continuing to post and ghost people who ask if you can show a video of your art progress. But you do know how to record your screen, right?" We're kicking it off with a banger because we have a conversation in the beginning of July 2026 where they're having a conversation with Redacted and they're talking about AI. And Redacted's like, yo, I've never used AI aside from ChatGPT. You might have to look this up yourself. So it kind of looks like Cyrose was asking about some Gen AI related things. And Cyrose responds, "Oh, I did. ChatGPT is the best for generating poses. I tried to see if it could register my style. I asked it to make poses of my OC with the photo I sent, and it did more or less." Hold on. They sent an image of their drawing and then ChatGPT's output of their drawing in different poses. Now, again, some people might be like, oh, it's not bad because it's like their image they fed into Gen AI. But to produce the output, right, it's still being produced off of the trained, stolen artwork of like a bajillion artists that Gen AI has trained upon. But I guess it's less bad because they're not like shoving somebody else's artwork into it, but rather theirs. And here are some photos of recent posts that they have. Now, one thing I personally am interested in because I'm not in the Sonic fandom, for the hedgehogs, is there a differing number of digits? As in, do some people choose to give their hedgehogs like 3 versus some people choosing 4 or 5? The reason why I'm asking is in this drawing, this hedgehog has 3 toes on each foot, and this one has 4. And this one has 5 fingers on each hand, and this one has 4 fingers with one tiny, super deformed finger in between the index and the middle finger. There's something going on here. Now, again, humans make mistakes. Humans make mistakes all the time. Accidents do happen. There are real human artists who will accidentally draw 6 fingers. It does happen. I don't know about a phantom tiny digit in between 2 fingers. That's a little bit of a choice, but maybe it was a mistake. Even though we already have this person admitting to Gen AI. But I digress. OP continues, old art. Here's a 2-week difference gap between these and the most recent artwork. So this one was posted the first week of July, one of their pieces. This is posted 2 months before that. And then a bunch more stuff came out. So OP was like, wait, I didn't know you were the guy on DeviantArt I told to stop tracing art back in 2021. And apparently this person was banned from the Sprite community because they were constantly stealing. And in 2023, they tried running away and escaping allegations. So back then they went by the alias, apparently, lol too slow. They had a whole bunch of artwork they've posted of remaking people's sprites. And then OP said, "You steal people's artwork and recolor them. Sorry, but I have to report you for this." And the artist had responded, "If I understand you well, you have not seen that I've changed. You worry about what has already happened, which tells that you have not seen my last 5 images. Posted it shortly." So essentially kind of being like, yo, I'm reformed. I don't do this anymore. That's kind of the vibe that I get. And oh boy, we have a lot to go into because a bunch of people started coming out with their experience working with this artist, highlighting how they are quite unprofessional. So the first person we have is Error404 writing, "Hey, I want to add my own experience because I commissioned him almost a month ago and he was by far the most unprofessional and unpleasant artist I've ever commissioned." For context, they wanted a full body line art for their OC, Byron, drawn in a specific pose, and that if the pose was too complicated, they would give an easier pose, and the price was $30. So here are the combos. This is the example artwork. This is the pose. And they're like, yo, it can be similar. It doesn't have to be 1-to-1. And they add 2 days later, I get this. Clearly, the final product didn't reflect either pose that I asked them to use because they offered like a second option for poses, right? This is what was given, which again, looks super different. And OP's like, "Could you not do the original pose?" And the artist Cyrus is like, "Oh, I had to deal with a lot of BS recently and I forgot the instructions you gave me." Oh, it happens. It does happen that sometimes you get overwhelmed and you forget, you mess up. But also, like, your client paid you money to get what they paid for. If you're not going to deliver on what they paid for because you messed up, in my opinion, it's your responsibility to then correct it because you made the mistake. OP is like, "Yo, so it looks good, but can I ask for a change?" And Cyrus is like, "Oh, what?" And OP's like, well, can they be holding the sphere? Because look, they're standing on the sphere. And Cyrose is like, all right, I'm sorry, but that's more work and I'm tired. And they sent like a tired face emoji. Dude, hello? That's very unprofessional. Because again, the reason why the client is asking for the correction in the first place is because you fucked up and you didn't draw the poses they asked for. Again, they were like, it's okay to like not be one to one, but you didn't get it anywhere within the ballpark of what the pose is supposed to look like. So I feel like the least you could do is be like, okay, I'll correct this because I messed up, my bad. Because your client is already like accommodating you by accepting something that they originally didn't want, nor did they pay for because you messed up. And OP continues, he kept making excuses and complaining about commissions. And in fact, before and after their commission, he kept complaining about other commissions. And he actually started OP's commission before other people's commissions. So here's some more communications back and forth where OP's like, so are you not going to make any changes soon? And Cyrose is like, first of all, I generally don't edit drawings I've already done when there's no issues. And even if I wanted to, I don't have time because there's other commissions. Again, this is so weird. And I just want to add like a tinfoil hat theory, right? Because like Gen AI is not good at like making really hyper specific corrections because essentially we'll redo the entire piece again. Whereas human artists, if you're like, can you put the spear in the hand? They're like, okay, don't worry. Copy the spear or like remove it from the layer it's on, draw the hand in a fist, paste it on, erase right here, boom, now they're holding a spear. But Gen AI is not good at doing that. So one thing that you will find with people who generate stuff and try to pass it off as artwork to their clients is that they're unable to make very simple corrections. And drawing the spear in the hand isn't simple, but you know, like it's not the hardest correction in the world. The client is not asking them to completely redraw the piece, even though they are in the right to do so because the artist didn't do what they asked for. But you know what I mean? There was a previous situation I talked about on my channel where like it was a woman in this ball gown dress and she had one foot kicked up in the air and she had her heel like floating beneath her. And the client was like, can you put the shoe on the foot? Any artist would just take the lasso tool and then tilt the shoe back up so it's on the foot and then erase the foot. And then you're like, nice, good. 30-second fix. And the artist just kept like pushing back, being like, I can't do it, I can't change it, you're asking for too much. Later revealed that it was likely because they were generating stuff with AI, and so therefore they literally couldn't change it. But that's my tinfoil theory. And Cyrose continues, honestly, I would like to continue with your order because you have references for your OC. Other people I'm working for are asking me to build OC with details and talking about how creating OCs is a pain. 404 continues, not only was he blatantly dismissive and disrespectful through this transaction, but now likely my $30 went to Gen AI art created in quotes by him. And they also add that nowhere in the TOS does it say that it's a your character here or a surprise me or a skeb, essentially like a commission in which you can't ask for changes. But here it says no refund except if I don't feel like it anymore because I'm not wasting time with works. You pay and I do what's asked to be done. Okay, I think this is quite unprofessional of a TOS. I mean, maybe he's trying to be funny with like the colloquial, like silly way that it's written, but you know, you are offering professional service. And so being like, oh, no refunds except I feel like I don't want to do it because I'm not wasting time. Like that's just very interesting to put in a TOS, in my opinion. And looking at these lines, I already feel a whole bunch of red flags. One, pay before being served. Upfront payment is a red flag, in my opinion, personally, when it comes to paying for services, because there's a high chance that you pay and you don't get the service, okay? Paying after receiving the work protects you more as a client, but for artists, I completely understand that they're scared of a situation where like the client gets the work and then they don't pay. So 50-50 tends to be a lot more fair, right? The person pays half up front and then you do the work and you get the other half once you finish the work. So it's kind of like everyone has the same amount of skin in the game essentially, or closer, right? So I like that better. Upfront payment, just a lot of times what happens is the artist just dips. Now, secondly, I think no refunds is a big red flag as well, because like straight up no refunds, if, ands, or buts is like, why, you know? This allows for a situation where you as an artist can accept money up front and then give jack shit effort into completing the commission for your clients and then be like, oh yeah, I did literally nothing you asked for, but look, it says no refund, so I'm good. And then also in this TOS, the artist isn't holding up to their own TOS. Their TOS says you pay and I do what's asked to be done. So the client paid, but you didn't do what was asked to be done because they asked for it in a specific pose and you didn't do it under the excuse of life got busy, so I forgot it. And so OP writes, saying he won't accept revisions or edits after the final product. If these were really his policies, they would be in his TOS. So 1, he ignored the basic specifics of my request. 2, refused to make edits to fix the issues. And 3, made poor excuses that disrespected me and other clients. Regardless of whether it's true this artist used AI to make artwork, his attitude is completely unacceptable by both client and artist standards, and I'm confident it's not an isolated experience. And apparently, they added a little tweet that Cyrose added, a little drawing of a screenshot of their Clip Studio Paint being like, oh, someone told me to try drawing Dark Sonic for my practice. So they're showing some art progress or art processes now when they prior to this have not shown it. And then now you're gonna be like, okay, well, shouldn't this person just ask for a refund in PayPal because they paid up front? Da 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 da. So in theory, it would work like that. Except this scam goes even deeper because the rabbit hole somehow has another layer to it. The original poster writes, Cyrose or vibe.mp3 slash low too slow, he lives in Cameroon, where PayPal is not allowed. So he used this woman's PayPal for his commissions and stole $100 from her in the process of buying a graphic tablet. So here are some DMs where the person who provided the PayPal is an artist, sells artwork to take care of their birds, and they sometimes work as a financial intermediary. As in, when people don't have bank cards or access to PayPal, they deposit money into her account and she converts it to their currency and take a little bit of a profit. And if you're like a Western artist, this might not make as much sense, but this is actually something that does happen in foreign countries, like non-Western countries, where banking or whatever, PayPal, like stuff that a lot of Western clients would use isn't available, right? They would use a middleman and the middleman takes a little bit of a percentage for the risk they take on for doing this. So basically, the person says that their friend told them about somebody who needed help receiving commission money, who is Cyrose. They started working together, and then one day, this person was accused of getting inappropriately involved with a minor, and this person ignored him, basically. So going back to the way that money transfer was working, they were transferring money to Cyrose's currency, but that they weren't even getting a cut of like the money transfer, and that there was an issue because he now started being accused of AI. And so because of this, he received money from clients and stopped charging their commissions, I guess maybe like doing their commissions, claiming he's on a break. And now they've reported her PayPal, even though she's just a middleman. And she had $500 saved for her parrot surgery, and they have been withdrawn and frozen. And now they have a $550 debt. Like, that's so fucked up. And the thing is, again, like being a middleman or this type of middleman stuff is something that does happen. And there is that risk that comes on when your PayPal is being used for other people's money deeds. Because, yeah, if people start chargeback requesting from that person, because your PayPal was used, your neck is essentially on the chopping block, and it sucks that it turned out this way. And apparently this is the new drawing tablet, allegedly. They're negative 600 USD. The middleman is messaging Cyrose being like, yo, here's a screenshot. This person charged me back. Like, what happened? He reported my account, and I hope you'll deal with this because my account is going to get closed and get me out of this mess because I've lost money. And Cyrose is like, do you know who's the complainer? Which, okay, maybe my tinfoil has been a little crazy, but like maybe this person doesn't know who's complaining, but like, And the reason the chargeback was filed was because there's AI in their artwork, which was something they didn't agree upon. So, of course, the middleman person sent over the PayPal information being like, hey, this is the person. And Cyrose is like, oh. And she's like, why didn't you give the drawing? And he's like, oh, I'm on break. You said that you can send the money as you can receive them, right? And she's like, my funds have been frozen and now I have a debt of $500. Like, he doesn't even care. And then again, she's putting pressure on him and he's like, damn, what the F? And she's like, you better do something because you've gotten yourself in this mess. I'm angry because I'm about to lose money in my bank accounts. And then he's just like ghosting her. So she's just like disappeared again. And there's another chargeback that increased her debt to $600. This was a $30 chargeback. Another person talked about how they had joined his Discord server, being rude to other people and passive aggressive, kind of responding to somebody being like mid or mood, kind of like implying that they're mid or essentially ugly, right? And OP's like, hey, don't say that. And then Cyrose is like, where did I hate? Did I hate you? And then they tag the person, like essentially just being very childish. And bro, okay. Another previous client in the comments says he doesn't respect his customers either. And Cyrose is like, done with part 1 of the commission, and sends over the artwork. And the client's like, great artwork, you have a lovely style. There are 4 fingers instead of 5 on one hand. Because yes, this hand has 4 and this hand has 5. And again, I said in the past, right, and I said in this video, that human artists mess up and humans sometimes will accidentally draw the wrong number of fingers, whatever. What are the odds you do it multiple times? What are the odds, right? And there's some other aspects of the art that I think look interesting, and maybe it's something that is in the ref sheet, but like this is like a skull and bones pattern, right? So there's like 2 on each side of the bones coming out, and this one, it's missing one, which again, like, right? How did you forget that? And Cyrose's response, again, to the fingers right is, I'm too lazy to fix this shit. Dude, what the fuck? You are so freaking rude as an artist, in my opinion, if a client that commissioned you for work is expecting a certain level of quality. And when you under-deliver because you messed up and gave 4 fingers on one hand and 5 on the other, and making mistakes is fine. Every artist has had a commission where maybe you dropped the ball a little bit on it and you really wish you did a better job on the product you give it, and maybe the client isn't fully satisfied. That's on you. Just fix it, bro. Straight up admitting I'm too lazy to fix it is crazy work. But what I imagine beyond this is the reason why Cyrose is saying this is because they can't fix it. Because judging by what they've said prior about Gen AI and stuff like that, my theory is that either it's fully generated or at least heavily assisted with Gen AI, and they can't correct it. And it gets even more insidious because we have grooming allegations. Oh boy. At the time, they went by the username vibe.mp3, where he was dating a minor who's going through a hard time and took advantage of that to get favors. This is a conversation where Lol Too Slow, aka Vibe, aka Cyrose, was messaging somebody else. And he says, all this happened until I know her age. She doesn't know my age, and from what I see, she doesn't mind. I see a wise maturity in her. She's not like the other. That is groomer words right there. If like an older guy is talking to a child and says, she's mature, she's not like other girls. Her dude, that is groomer material. There can be 14-year-olds that are more mature than other 14-year-olds. They're not going to have the same maturity as like an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old. They're not, because they're fucking 14 years old, okay? And this is what groomers like to say to try to justify their behavior and like brainwash groom, right? The kid into thinking it's okay. And the other person obviously says, dating a child doesn't sit right with me. And he's like, it's a child. Yeah, true. I guess we'll stay friends. But basically, Vibe tells her, to be honest, I love you very much. But what's stopping me from continuing this is the age difference. Besides, I don't think you feel the same way, even though we're alike. I can't date a minor. I'm 18. There was a Google Doc with a lot of screenshots of their conversations and the translations for them. And essentially, in the first half of it, she was talking how she was going through some mental health issues and that her mental health wasn't great and that she wasn't in a great place and she was considering like self-exit, and he was trying to talk her out of it. And then towards the end of it, we get to this conversation where he's like, how old are you this year? And she's like, oh, it's personal with my friends. And he's like, do you consider me a stranger? And she's like, no. And he's like, I'm trying to understand you better. I like you already, but it's still anonymous for me to appreciate or to like somebody without having real info on her or him. And she's like, I see. He's like, yes, I want to know you better so I won't forget anything about you. And she's like, well, I'm young like this other person. Cyrose is like, he didn't give me his age. So she gives her birth year and he's like, oh, so you're 14. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, you know, love was supposed to be forbidden for young people, except that those who say that are from the past generations. But that's a question I've always asked myself. And I'm asking you this. Do you think that love is for everyone regardless of their age? And he's like, to be honest, I really love you. And then we have the conversation we saw in that previous screenshot I showed you where he's like, I love you, but I shouldn't be with you because of your age. Ew, that's so gross, man. Look, some people might make the argument, oh, but like he didn't know her age in the beginning. He said, oh, so you're 14? She says, yeah. And then he says, to be honest, I really love you. Come on, bro. He said that after he found out her age. And then we have this conversation where they're talking about how like drawing, you know, stuff is hard. And he's like, oh, here's a graphic on how to draw boobs easier, and sends that to her. Do you think this is appropriate to send to a 14-year-old at your ripe old age of 18? Like 18 is not old. I still think you're young. But you know what I mean? 14 to 18, that's a huge maturity difference. But another user had added, just let you guys know, this person is a PDF file and even asked a minor for NSFW photos. So this is the conversation, and he's like, can I ask a question? I know it's not comfortable, but my curiosity will never end. Would you send me photos if I asked? Sorry for asking that question. And the minor's like, no, sorry. And then it's okay to sorry to ask that question. And he's like, you're aware, I see. That is so creepy. That is such a creepy statement to say in response to you asking this inappropriate question to a minor. In this context, I don't know information about the other person in this conversation, but according to OP, they're a minor. You should not be asking minors for these types of pictures. Don't be weird. The thing is, like, he knows it's wrong because he literally says this. He says, I know it's not comfortable. And then, sorry for asking this question. Yeah, if you have to say sorry for asking the question, you probably shouldn't have asked this question. Don't be weird, impossible challenge. And what's even worse is in the comment section, there are so many people talking about their experiences with this person, being like, dude, this person's so weird. I had an icky experience with them. I'm so sick of this. Like, oh, I commissioned him and that makes a lot of sense as to why it didn't quite look right. There's so much evidence, man. From the admission of already running their own work through generative AI to then the commissions with changes he can't do to commissions with incorrect number of fingers to that other drawing of that like OC character sitting with one phantom finger in between two fingers, and then the PayPal middleman situation, and then just overall being a very, very poor artist to commission in terms of communication and being like, I don't freaking want to draw this. And then the kid stuff, dude, man. Bro is speed running a list of things that artists should not be doing. This is absolutely absurd. So anyways, don't bully or harass or contact this person. Don't do that. That would make you weird as well. But just stay diligent, stay aware. It's just really icky behavior to see. I really hope that the middleman who had their PayPal flagged because this person just decided to like wash their hands of the commissions they owe people and not do them, I hope they can recover their account. It's just so tricky because that is the risk that comes on with being a middleman. But it just sucks to suffer consequences for something that you didn't do because you trusted this person was going to do their job and they didn't do it. So hopefully they're able to get it back. And I'm sorry to everybody who got scammed. And I hope that they were at least able to somehow come to a resolution and recover their funds. It's just so icky all around. So anyways, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy or Coffee. I'm trying to get my Instagram to 100K, so we're slowly trudging up there. And yeah, I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST or Thursdays at 7:30, where I do a podcast with my friend. So I hope to catch y'all there or in another video. Peace.